And now here on Trevor Sports, it's a welcome return of Trevor Walker and highlights from the Spanish Grand Prix.
Forgive us, please, if we feel very emotional, because that's our life. They're breaking ranks, the Union Jacks are waving, and Nigel Mansell wins the 1992 British Grand Prix in terrific style. Go, go, go! And it's happened immediately! This is amazing! Out! Oh my goodness, this is fantastic! Yeah, look at that! Brilliant! Absolutely brilliant! 3.36 seconds! There we are, folks. I'm back.
Hello and welcome to the Circuit de Catalunya here in Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix. Round 5 of this year's Formula 1 World Championship, and as we just get towards the halfway mark in the season, we're starting to see a titanic battle appear between Schumacher and Senna. But I guess that's what we all wanted, wasn't it? Michael Schumacher has won the last 3 out of the 4 races, but last race was finally beaten in Monaco. Ayrton Senna taking a dominant win and taking 10 valuable World Championship points. As for the standings in the Drivers' Championships, well, Schumacher still has a 14-point advantage over Ayrton Senna. Damon Hill is the only one that looks like he may be able to meet the two behemoths in the game, with 14 points in 3rd place. But Mika Häkkinen and that McLaren Peugeot has worked wonders there for that 4th spot. In terms of the constructors, Benetton have a 10-point advantage over Williams, and it very much looks like a 2-horse race between those two teams for the Constructors' Championship, with Ferrari just ahead of McLaren in the race for 3rd place. The race here today in Spain looks like it's going to be a very hot day, and 3 years ago we saw one of the most iconic battles of all time, Nigel Mansell's Williams overtaking Ayrton Senna's McLaren down on the main straight at 190 miles an hour. Could we see something similar today between Senna and Schumacher? Qualifying played all the more importance. And it was the Williams that showed their improvement, finished locking out the front row. Ayrton Senna with yet another pole position. Michael Schumacher only able to come in 3rd place. Ayrton Senna will have the advantage, but Schumacher has had these lightning starts this season. Mika Häkkinen getting 4th, and on the 3rd row, JJ Lehto's got ahead of Ugo Katayama's Tyrrell. Jonah Lacey's beaten Martin Brundle on the 4th row. Rubens Barrichello in the Jordan is ahead of Mark Blundell's Tyrrell. Gerhard Berger, a rather disappointing 11th that he's able to qualify in. Eddie Jordan has come in at 13th in the end, and the rest of the field pretty much writes itself. Gianni Morbidelli ahead of Olivier Panis in 19th and 20th, and Andre Gutierrez and Christian Fittipaldi in the Footwork Arrows bringing up the rear of the circuit. So, Senna on the right, Damon Hill on the left, the Spanish Grand Prix. And we go! It's a good start by Damon Hill. Senna's also made an outstanding start as they move over. And look for the Benetton behind them. Schumacher is also closing in. The JJ Lehto's got ahead of Häkkinen, and Brundle's also diving into the first corner. But Senna takes it. Hill is 2nd, and in 3rd place, well, I think that's JJ Lehto's got ahead. What a brilliant start by the Finnish driver. Michael Schumacher is down to 4th. An outstanding bit of motor racing. There goes Schumacher. Is his teammate going to let him pass? Schumacher just squeezes right round the inside. This could be enough, and indeed it is. And Schumacher has got himself into 3rd place. JJ Lehto 4th, Häkkinen 5th, Brundle 5th, Williams 1-2. Ayrton Senna is off into the lead here in the Spanish Grand Prix. A brilliant start though, has to be said, but what a start by Senna.
An excellent start from Senna. He got perfect traction. He reacted the fastest. And JJ Leto caught his teammate by surprise as they go through the chicane. Here is Ayrton with clean air in front of him. He'll be looking to try and get as much distance between him and Michael Schumacher as possible. Of course, he's playing catch-up in the championship right now.
Yes, indeed. In terms of the championship standings, we all know Ayrton Senna has it all to do. Michael Schumacher on 36 points, Ayrton Senna on 22, but he does have that first win previously at Monaco, but Schumacher has it all to do. So, and we can see Schumacher at the moment starting to catch up Damon Hill. This long back straight, we famously saw Senna and Mansell going wheel to wheel at 190 mile an hour. That's what they're doing, and Senna just guided in perfectly. He's got 0.9 of a second ahead of Damon Hill, who's already under pressure from Michael Schumacher. Now, what can Schumacher do to get past Damon Hill? Is that an indifferent start to the championship season? And Hill, and he seems to be making a move. Look at this! And he just got away with it there.
He had a look, didn't he, at Schumacher? He just thought about it, but Damon Hill taking the correct line to fend him off, forcing him onto the dirty part of the track. Although Michael is keeping very much under that rear wing of the Williams, but there's not much passing opportunities in this sector.
No, it'll be a case of keeping it tight and getting right past your opponent in that long start-finish straight. The chicane section that's been brought in, obviously brought in due to safety concerns that the Racing Drivers Association, the Formula 1 Drivers Association, was reformed and put in place, as we're watching Mika Hakkinen at the moment chasing down JJ Leto, and he's got his teammate Martin Brundle behind him. And Hakkinen at the moment, well, brilliant third place in Imola, and some real talent in this young Finnish driver.
Yes, he's certainly shown some tremendous talent, and I dare say if he had a bit more of a powerful engine under him, he might be contending in more races. But one man who's always contending is this one. He's got a little bit of a gap to Damon now, so it might prove difficult to catch up along this long straight. And look in the background there, Mika Hakkinen going on later.
And Hakkinen just goes in, and JJ Leto cuts him off at the last second. That's a lovely bit of driving, but my heavens, the bravery of these drivers, the speeds they're travelling at is astonishing. Hakkinen also stays right behind JJ Leto, the Benetton, and now he's going to try and make a move, breaking into the right hand out, side by side. Could this be the moment for Hakkinen? He just to be able to get past, no he can't. JJ Leto again, and it's now Brundle to get right up alongside. So what a battle for fourth place this is developing here.
Yes, well, who has the better French engine? Is it the, well, I say French engine, of course, in 95. We're talking potentially Renault-powered Benettons. This year, of course, it's Ford, but could be French power versus the Ford power. And it's just proving a little bit difficult on the straights, but certainly in the twisty bits and that extra added chicane, it's certainly being a bit of an equaliser for them.
Well, Martin Brundle here has managed to do a brilliant job and get himself right behind his teammate Mika Hakkinen at the moment. This is Damon Hill, who, like us, a lot of people said, learned so much last year under Alain Prost. Can he learn some more here under Ayrton Senna? There's no talk about how long Senna's contract is, whether Senna will stay or move on. The one thing is for certain, he's putting out nearly 2 seconds on Damon Hill into the lead. So it's Senna leading, Damon Hill is second, Michael Schumacher is third, JJ Leto is fourth, and I think in the background may have just seen their Brundle and Hakkinen battling for fifth place. The two of those exchanging positions. I hope our Spanish race director decides to pick that up. But Schumacher still just under a second behind Damon Hill, and I'm sure Damon Hill will know that in terms of his race and his accountability, he is the second driver for Williams, but certainly the more that he can hold Schumacher behind him for as long as he can will allow Senna to build up as big a lead as he can. And sometimes we may say this, but this Formula 1 gig, it is a bit of a team sport sometimes.
It is indeed, and Damon's doing a great job there for Ayrton, although he will have his own ambitions, and the two McLarens are still nose to tail in the back there going into that chicane. But Damon is doing a superb job in second place, not causing any problems. And here's Leto, and as you can see here, Brundle has he got past? No, that's Hakkinen still. He's held his position. But that long straight certainly playing havoc for the pecking order at the minute.
Yeah, top speeds of 190 mile an hour these cars will be doing as they go through the start-finish straight, and Mika Hakkinen Well, the Peugeot engine hasn't been known to be particularly reliable, but at the moment the one thing is apparent here is he's not quite able to be able to catch up JJ Leto. So there is the top 6. No one is down to pit at the moment. We don't expect cars to start pitting till about lap 8 or 9, and then from situation there we expect them potentially to start to make their way into the pits. But so far, as we're on board with Michael Schumacher, who's chasing down Damon Hill, and I wonder here, this is where the tactics of pit stops will come into it. And talk us through the undercut, Trevor, and how this could potentially work for Schumacher, because the Benettons are tending to pit early at the moment.
Yes, well, of course, with an undercut, you pit early, and forcing the other team to perhaps rethink their strategy, whether they mimic it or stick to what they do. And of course, if you pit early and then get that fresh rubber on and up to temperature, you start doing faster laps. And of course, whilst they're pitting and you've increased or improved your lap times, you then go past them whilst they're coming out the pits. That's the idea. It's the potential trick that Benetton could pull again, as they've tried to pull many times this year. And at the minute, it would probably be their best bet to try and get past Damon Hill, because Michael is keeping up with him, but he just can't quite get him on the straights.
Yeah, both the Williams Renault V10 is flying away. The gap itself is 7/10 of a second. There's about a 1/10 of a second that Schumacher was able to take off, but we are talking blinking of an eye. That's just how close this is at the moment. But this is really the main battle between these two races. But in terms of the championship, Schumacher has had an outstanding start. 3 race wins, 2nd place in Monaco. It wasn't by a great deal. And Schumacher, he's fighting and doing everything he can to keep up. With 16 laps to go, and Ayrton Senna is so far on his way, as things stand, and I say that with a massive asterisk next to me, on his way for his 2nd race win of the season.
Well, so far it's been perfection for Senna, untroubled, although the gap is looking like it's getting a little smaller between himself and Damon. Maybe the tyres are starting to wear off a bit, but of course you say this is the only battle. There is that battle for 4th place that is still raging on behind, but all the focus will be on this man, looking to win yet another championship, and of course got his season underway properly at his favourite stomping ground in Monaco. He'll be looking for yet another victory here today, but there's still plenty to go as he's pushing right to the edge of track limits there, right on the edge of the curbs, and really finding the absolute limit for that Williams.
Well, the gap is 1.8 seconds, so as it stands, it's 6/10 in the gap between Schumacher and Hill. So Schumacher's catching Damon Hill. It's about a 1/10 a lap, which means they could potentially be in striking distance. But if I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. Catching somebody is one thing, overtaking them is completely another thing. So let's round up the top 6 at the moment. Confirm Ayrton Senna, Williams 1st. Damon Hill, Williams 2nd. Michael Schumacher, Benetton 3rd. JJ Leto, Benetton 4th. Mika Hakkinen, Peugeot 5th. And Martin Brundle, Peugeot in 6th. Those are all the top point scorers available. That's right, just the top 6 getting points. But I can definitely see as Damon's tyres or something must be laying off, because Schumacher is gaining on him visibly now.
He looked like he went a bit deep going into the S section before that chicane, so he might have just outbraked himself a little bit, and those tyres might be going off. As you can see, the gap now down to under half a second. He very well could be in trouble going down the main straight in a moment.
Well, this will be the run. If Schumacher can get under half a second, there's a potential for enough of a tow, and there could be the opportunity. This is the great overtake that we once saw here, where Mansell passed Senna just 3 years ago. Williams and McLaren that day. It's Benetton and Williams going one another now, and I think Schumacher, and it looks like Damon's car just slightly bottoms out. Some sparks flying off the back, 4/10 of the second, and Schumacher's got so close, but not quite close enough to make a move yet. And Damon's just about holding court and holding ahead of him, and this is reminding you for 2nd place. If Schumacher can get past here, well then he may have a potential to try and hunt down Ayrton Senna right now. Look at him getting closer and closer, and Schumacher pulling away from his teammate and continuing to do so. Right on the gearbox at the moment at Damon Hill.
Yes, certainly the Benetton in the corners has a little bit more going for it, as Olivier Beretta is out of the race. He's had some kind of problem in the second to last sector there. As you can see, the yellow flag's out there, but Michael, he's got the advantage in the corners, of course. The V8 is a bit lighter than the V10, so he's going to have a little bit more traction in the corners, but of course the V10 has more power on the longer bits, so it's very much equaling itself out. But
Damon Hill continues to fight off Michael Schumacher. We're watching the pit straight, and still they've not come in, so Senna still leads, Hill is still second, Schumacher is third, and he was getting really close, but Damon Hill's managed to put out 8/10 of a second on Michael Schumacher in that last few laps. So what did Damon do so well there?
well, I think he pulled out, obviously, the high-speed downforce that Williams has, definitely helping it, and obviously the extra power. The last sector is kind of a power sector, as is the beginning of the first sector too, because obviously it's long, high-speed corners. Martin Brundle is now in the pits, which obviously makes it interesting for that battle for fourth. But yes, the first and final sectors are both power-based, whereas the middle sector is very much chassis and cornering ability, which I think very much helps the Benetton.
Well, of course, a lot of the technicalities were changed at the beginning of the season. Williams lost their active cornering, they've lost ABS. The only thing the vehicles have left from last season is actually power steering. Other than that, they're back way around. Look at Schumacher's getting very close here to Damon Hill at the moment, and Hill just tries to hold the gap, and Schumacher just trying to find on the inside line. Damon doing a wonderful job there of closing the door, but this could really open up, because there could be enough of a tow here down this back straight for Schumacher to think about. No, he can't! Schumacher's into the pits!
Well, he's going for that undercut that we were talking about earlier. A lot of people are now pitting as well. It's a long entrance to the pits, so it's quite a lot of time that you lose, and obviously he's going to be looking to get himself out into a gap. As into the pits he comes. Now, how quick is the stop? Tyres are on. How much fuel? And away he goes. 5.3 seconds. That's a very quick stop. He's just got to hope that he comes out in a decent gap and he's able to get the power down and go for it.
Well, he's out in the way, and that's one of the Ferraris going past him. So Schumacher's come out. It's the Ferrari of Gerhard Berger, who's in 6th place. So Schumacher's come out in 7th. He's gone for the early stop. Probably needs to get past Berger quickly. Otherwise, this negates this whole sort of undercut, because if this does happen, and he's going for it here, though. This is the winning opportunity, breaking here into turn 5, and Berger cuts him off quite fantastically. The Austrian driver, who was, some have said, the old elder statesman of Formula 1, made his debut 10 years ago, but still showing he's got a trickle to up the old sleeve. But Michael surely here has to find a way past.
Well, he has to. This is playing directly into Ayrton Senna and Damon Hill's hands, him being stuck behind the Ferrari, which isn't particularly fast in the corners. Certainly he can punch a hole down that straight with that incredible V12, but it's a very heavy, cumbersome car through the corners, and very much holding Michael Schumacher up. It'll be interesting to see if Williams react to this opportunity, and they have.
And they do react. Senna's come in, watching the time. 4.8 seconds. It's a blisteringly quick stop from the Williams. Could this be enough for Senna to come out and retake the lead? We're watching at the moment to see if anyone's alongside him. Senna's got a really, really clean run outside. There goes the Ferrari. I think that was John Alesi. No! It's not what. This is John Alesi. So that's JJ Leto that's ahead. So it's Lacey. So Senna's come out in 4th place. And he's there, you can see in the background as Schumacher just gets past Gerhard Berger. But that's worked out perfectly for Williams. They've responded, and now Senna, and look at Lacey here, brilliantly there, just coming across to slam the door shut. This very talented Frenchman here, just thought for half a second there that could have been the moment that the undercut had worked, but it hadn't to be, and Schumacher, outstanding efforts, but Senna here needs to get past Lacey, who has yet to pit, I believe.
Yes, very much similar scenario to Michael, who isn't in the picture behind there. There's quite a big gap. Obviously being stuck behind the Ferrari, really doing Michael's chances a world of bad, and this would be a great opportunity for Damon Hill to perhaps pop into the gap behind. There is Michael Schumacher just going through the chicane as Ayrton's putting his foot down now, and that Ferrari shouldn't be too slow on the straights, and I believe, nope, there is Damon. He has not pitted yet, he's going to keep going.
No, so obviously Damon feels that he wants to perhaps pit as late as he can in terms of there's enough fuel in that car. They want to miss some of the traffic, and you can have traffic exiting the pit lane, and if Damon can do that, can he find? But the problem is, though, Damon here is going on old tyres, and old tyres aren't as quick. JJ Leto's into the pits, and Ayrton Senna, well, until Damon pits, and you'd expect this here, could well be the leader-elect at the moment. There is Michael Schumacher behind him, and Schumacher is chasing, but at the moment here, what went wrong in terms of the undercut? Was it that battle he had with Berger that slowed him up?
I get the feeling that nothing but Berger probably ruined his attempt at an undercut as we enter the final 10 laps with Damon Hill leading. But of course Ayrton got stuck behind the other Ferrari with John Alesi, so Damon might have an opportunity here. If he has a good pit stop, he could possibly come out closer to Senna, if not in front of him, and we could have a battle for the lead between the two Williams cars, which, well, where does the team priority lie?
Well, let's find out. Damon is coming into the pits. Hill is coming in. It was lead over Ayrton Senna was 23 seconds just previously, so let's see if this is enough. It's a good entry. In there's the pit crew. Stand ready. Watch them. Watch the time in your bottom right. Senna was in 4.8 seconds. Could this be anything like as quick? It's not. It's 5.2 seconds. It's still very quick. It's quicker than Michael Schumacher's. There is Senna. Senna is coming past, and Schumacher looks like he's also going to get past. There's Damon Hill on the left. Senna on the right. Schumacher's also got through. And for Damon, he's tried as he might, but in the end, just not being quick enough. Damon's in third place. Schumacher has got through in the end. Perhaps Damon went too long in staying out on those older tyres.
Perhaps, but now he's going to have the fresher rubber for the remainder of the race, and he has been proven to be faster on the straights, generally across the first and third sectors, so he might well catch Michael going into the final stages here. And ideally for Ayrton Senna, that would be the prime scenario. If Michael's too busy looking in his mirror rather than trying to look ahead, this might play again into Ayrton's hands, who at the minute is having the perfect race.
Yes, indeed. Ayrton Senna, outstanding position at the moment. Qualified in pole position, has led every lap. He's on for the Grand Slam. Just needs the fastest lap at the moment, and he's currently holding on to it. So this could be very, very tight. So the scenarios which we can look at here in this scenario, if Senna was to become victorious, Schumacher was to win. And in terms of the championship, well, the championship would be down to just 10 points if that was the result here. And now they've got traffic, and that's Pierluigi Martini in the footwork arrows. Ahead, Senna's put out 3.6 seconds on Michael Schumacher, and there's more traffic as one of the Salvos comes through in front of Schumacher, and Damon Hill, who's also making the challenge. But the question here is, can Damon potentially catch Schumacher and pass him? I don't think anyone at the moment can quite catch Ayrton Senna, who has been near faultless this weekend.
Yes, but for Damon, he'll be looking ahead and seeing the traffic and thinking, we're coming to the bit which is difficult to overtake on. This could be his chance. And as you can see, that gap is getting smaller. And as we come up to the chicane, just after the S section here, this could be a real opportunity for him to close that gap.
Well, we know that the Williams V10, powered by Renault, is working magnificently, and this could be a real opportunity. They bounce their way, and Schumacher's been really held up at the moment by the Sauber indeed, and both have flown past. And now this could be a chance for Damon. They will break left-hand corner to negotiate. Then they'll fly round to the start-finish straight. The question is, can Damon force every ounce of horsepower out of that V10. He's right behind Schumacher at the moment. This could be so close into the final corner, into the start-finish straight. The battle for second place is going to come down right here. Damon pops out, tries to make a move on Schumacher. Does he have enough? Can Schumacher hold him off? They're side by side. Look at this. And I think there's just enough here in the V8 Ford Cosworth to hold off Damon. And just shuts the door brilliantly, Schumacher. But Damon is so close at the moment to Michael Schumacher.
Well, Michael Schumacher defended that brilliantly, but he's still got to defend going into this section. As Damon, is he going to make the lunge? No, Michael covers him off. And now we're getting to the bit where the Benetton is the stronger of the two cars, but yet again, there is more traffic. It is not as simple as one overtaking the other. They've got to negotiate everything else around them.
So for every back marker Schumacher passes, Damon Hill has to pass too. Oh, look at that! Just by that, Schumacher's made a move and tried to go around the outside of Martini, and that might have brought him half a second or more. It's Hill's going to be behind going into the chicane section, so what a bit of driving by Schumacher to make that move when he did. It's really hurt Damon Hill, who's just about to get past now, but it's also meant in terms of this Grand Prix that Schumacher might have just found the gap. That was a brilliant bit of opportunistic driving.
Well, Michael, I think, knew he had to get past that traffic in order to break the toe, and he's done brilliantly there. And he's sending it up the inside of a back marker. Really should be getting out of the way, but he's managed to make it stick. And now he's got himself a little bit of clean air in front of him. There's Damon Hill. There's a bit of a gap behind now. It's going to be difficult for him to make up that time with the laps remaining.
Yeah, 2.1 seconds now. Michael Schumacher's the gap. He's pulled on Damon Hill. Mark Blundell perhaps doing his best for Queen and Country, but not able in the end to stop Schumacher getting past. But that is the inevitable, and as many people sees, that is the one person that can stop the inevitable. A disastrous start to the season from Ayrton Senna, who's found himself on the podium twice, but watched perhaps his biggest rival for this season win the first 3 races. Monaco was a return to form, with 6 laps to go. Ayrton Senna has been able to pull a gap in a Williams FW16 that's just starting to find itself. There's Uko Katayama in the other Tyrrells, the next back marker that Senna has to chase down. But Senna is looking comfortable at the moment. He's growing that gap to Michael Schumacher, and it was 6.8 seconds. Wait and see to the timing in Sector 2. It's gone over 8 seconds. So passing all that traffic certainly hurt, and I think Senna might just start to be able to breathe a little bit easier in these last 5 laps.
Yes, I think Michael got caught up behind a back marker going into the chicane, which might give Damon Hill another look at it perhaps. We shall see. I don't know if anyone's going to be tracked. Where is Schumacher? I can't see him. There he is. He was quite a long way behind, but I think Damon Hill may have closed the gap a bit. I think he has.
Well, the gap itself is now down to 2.4 seconds, so Schumacher, I think, starting to pull away with the two of these working in traffic at the moment, but it was so close there, but a brilliant manoeuvre to get past Martini before the slow chicane section has essentially given Schumacher the impetus. If Hill had got past at that time, then these two would have been on each other's gearbox, and we'd be talking about. Hill definitely made his move, gave it everything, but you'd have to turn around and say so far it's an outstanding drive from Michael Schumacher.
Yes, he's done really well. Obviously he was a front row locking up for Williams, so for him to be able to split the two of them, it helps both his own ambitions and the constructors' ambitions. But yeah, he's had an extraordinary race, Michael. He might not win this one, but he's certainly shown some great racecraft, and being able to pick a gap between the back markers may well have secured him second place, provided he doesn't make any mistakes.
Well, Damon Hill's lead over JJ Leto and the other Benetton in 4th is looking very comfortable. Doesn't look like that's going to be worrying anyone soon, but it does mean that Damon Hill is in a position where he can try and do what he can to chase down Michael Schumacher. This will be the point where Damon's car is certainly going to be quicker than Schumacher's. So let's recount the top 6. It's Senna, Schumacher, Hill, JJ Leto, and the McLaren's 5th and 6th. Hakkinen and Brundle, Alesi, Barrichello, Berger, Irvine, Bernard and Panis make up the top 12. And Comas and Frentzen the only other drivers on track that have not been lapped at the moment. And it'll be Eric Comas, who will surely be the next driver in the sights of Ayrton Senna. 1.3 seconds, so Damon Hill is slowly picking back that sort of second and a bit that he lost, but certainly the Williams is quick through Sector 1. We'll see what it responds to in Sector 2 here in Catalunya.
Yes, it's very much a case of Damon with the slightly fresher rubber might just be getting that little bit of extra traction through this sector, which was Benetton's kind of trick up their sleeve, and then obviously the chicane here certainly plays into their favour a little bit, but there's a little bit of lap traffic ahead as well. I think we've only got 3 or 4 more laps to go, but it's not quite over yet for Michael. He's got to bring it home, and Damon will be very much seeing the back of that Benetton wing and thinking, I can get it. He's just got to get there before time runs out. There's a yellow flag out somewhere, but I don't think it's going to cause too many problems.
Oh, Häkkönen's out to the race. Häkkönen out to the race with a blown engine. Heartbreaking for the McLaren driver, but as a result, Jean Lacey is up into 6th place. So Jean Lacey's jumped up into the points, but Senna is marching away with this. And we're now watching Michael Schumacher, who's just got to hold out for as long as he can and just seems to be able to manage this gap to Damon Hill. Certainly there's a respect between these two drivers. I was talking to Damon earlier on the in the pit crew for Trevor Sports, and he definitely holds Michael in high regard and regards him, well, I wouldn't necessarily say as a tier above the rest, but I'm sure Damon here knows that in years to come, Michael could well be the driver to beat. That is, if Senna wishes to stay in Formula 1 at the end of the season.
I would say that statement is probably accurate, as here's that back marker leading into the chicane. This might be Damon's chance to just close up a little bit more.
So Katayama here in the Tyrrell is holding up Schumacher, and Damon's just having a look round the inside and got to get past Schumacher. You feel, couldn't Damon Hill use his opportunity to find his way? There's no yellow flags. The yellow flags are out in Sector 1. Sector 3, they're not out. They'll go round the penultimate right-hander, then another one, and Schumacher's going to make his move now, and this might just be enough for him, because Damon has been held up here by Katayama, and that could be it. That could be the chance. Damon Hill held up. Can he get past the Tyrrell? He can get past. The Yamaha engine is no match for the Renault V10. But once again, Schumacher showing us brilliant skill to get past in these situations where there is traffic and slower cars. What a brilliant drive, but perhaps not as brilliant as this man. 2 laps to go, and Ayrton Senna is looking increasingly in control of a true for Grand Prix, which he has dominated.
Yes, it's very much going to plan. If he could have drawn up a plan and picked how his race had gone, it would very much be like this. Untroubled at the front. I think he might maybe select his teammate to be a little bit closer to him in 2nd place, but it won't matter to him too much. All he cares about is getting himself back in the championship picture, and a victory here today will certainly do that, and he has performed perfectly. Let's be honest, he's not made any mistakes, and he's just cruising around at the front now, just waiting for the checkered flag.
Well, the win here, as things stand, the championship lead will be cut to 10 points. And Senna's got Eric Comas in the Sauber ahead of him, and Comas is trying to make a move on the other Minardi, and Senna says, do you know what, that's a good idea, I'll have some of that too. And Senna will come through here to complete his final lap here, lap 21 all the way, and Ayrton Senna is on the final lap of this Grand Prix. He's got a Sauber ahead of him in Eric Comas, and Senna here has produced an outstanding drive just behind Howell Frentzen to pass. And if he can pass Frentzen, well, it doesn't really matter really. He can sit behind him. He's probably going to have time to pull over, go ahead, wash the car, go and read the paper, take the dog for a walk, come back, and he can still finish first. That's how comfortable Ayrton Senna has been today.
Yes, it's very much an imperious and a very Ayrton Senna-like performance, but when you look at the field, you look at the rivals that he's had over the years, not many of them are left. But the new challenge of Michael is certainly one he's taking head on, and today, well, it's been a very calm, measured performance from Senna, certainly laying down the benchmark for future races to come.
Well, and all the troubles that Williams have had with their FW16 Senna's found some form in it. He's got to find just a couple more corners, and in doing so, will round it through and will take his second race win for his new side. Race wins in the end. He's had with Lotus, he's had with McLaren. He's going to come through. The marshals are out on the track to celebrate this, and Ayrton Senna comes home to win the Spanish Grand Prix in fantastic style. An imperious win for Ayrton Senna. Quite brilliant.
And look at this, Damon hasn't given up on Schumacher. They're nose to tail coming out of that final corner. It's very close, extremely close in fact, but only just. I think there was 2/10 in it towards the end there. Very, very close.
Well, Michael Schumacher has held on and just held on with a brilliant bit of racing, but Ayrton Senna absolutely outstanding today. Nobody could match him. A brilliant drive. He has got pole position. He's got the fastest lap. He's led every lap and every inch of this Grand Prix. If there could be a perfect weekend in Formula 1, Ayrton Senna certainly have it. The question here is, though, how will the Benetton team respond? Because it looks as if the Williams FW16 is really starting to come to the boil. A magnificent performance in the Spanish Grand Prix for Ayrton Senna in the Williams. 10 World Championship points for him. Michael Schumacher and the Benetton team did wonders to undercut Damon Hill, that came third. Benetton, of course, with fourth for JJ Leto. Brundle with 2 World Championship points to John Alesi in the Ferrari, coming 6. As for the World Championship thus far, Michael Schumacher's lead has now been cut to 10 points. Ayrton Senna is hot on the heels of him. Damon Hill was in third place, but starting to fall adrift of the 2 championship leaders. Hakkinen, Berger and John Alesi look set to do battle for that 4th position in the championship. For the constructors' standpoint, Benetton's dominance is being cut in half by Williams. They're on their case. Ferrari and McLaren battling out for that 3rd spot. As for us here on Grand Prix, well, we're back next with the Canadian Grand Prix. Join us for all the action, live and exclusive here on Trevor Sports.
I've got a lump in my throat.